Hello friends, good evening to all. Is my voice audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just we'll wait for a couple of minutes. Just starting to do. Right, friends, I think we can start. Today, basically, we will be discussing on yesterday's case only. And the case that I have shared today, you are supposed to submit the remedy by tomorrow. Now, yesterday, we were discussing about one important rubric which we have observed in this case. So, just to confirm that, friends, let me tell you something. Today evening, at around 6:30, 7 o'clock, I had received a call from the same patient. Is my voice audible, friend? Just confirming once again.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So today at 6:30 in the evening, I could not, unfortunately, I could not record that call because it was a random call, unscheduled call. So today at 6:30, I received a call from the same patient, and basically she had called to inform that one more spot has come on the back of her right ear. But look, when we had a conversation for a few minutes, she also told me that the other day when I had a conversation with her, when I took her case, that day and for the next day, she had a very severe headache. What does that indicate, friends? Anybody want to comment? Anybody would like to comment? Why, how can that be explained? Or why that why that she developed headache?
Consolation aggravation.
Consolation aggravation can be thought of, but if it correlates with what symptom we have taken last time, this is just again a confirmation that yes, it is a very important symptom in the case.
Yes, sir.
Have you seen about
Sir,
the case taking a
mental
mental aggravation?
aggravate the symptom.
Yes, correct. See, then when she told me that, like, the day when I took her case, at the same day and the next day she had very severe headache and she could not sleep properly. Then I said that what happened? Kya hua? Then she said that, like, so I just asked her, actually I had digged out through your whole past history. See, those who are not speaking, please keep on mute, friends. It's disturbing the entire class. 1 second, let me mute all. Okay. So when I asked her casually that is it because that I had digged your whole past history, so that thoughts were repeatedly coming into your mind, and so you could not sleep and ultimately ended up having headache. She probably confirmed that yes, that could be the reason. See, just just comparison. So again, see, when I digged all those past history, probably it is quite obvious that she may have been thinking about those things again, because probably she after a long time she had expressed all these feelings. So again, that mental exhaustion is involved, and she ended up in having headache. The earlier complaint, what she was talking about is some kind of anxiety in her extremities, and that was again she told that it is aggravated after mental exhaustion. Now again that has happened again when she developed severe headache after that exhaustion. So mental exhaustion aggravation, as such, if you consider that rubric, it is a very, very important symptom. And in this case, it is quite unique as well, because whatever the complaints that she's having, we cannot correlate that. During the case taking, she's saying that the extremities complaint that she had is aggravated after mental exhaustion. So there is no connection at all, physiologically or anatomically. But that in itself makes that symptom very unique and peculiar. And see, this is the one important symptom that you people have missed out in the case. I think only two members have considered this symptom in the totality. One is the Dr. Swapna Kanoje ma'am, which was very much expected, and Dr. Atul Maurya. So in the submissions that you people have given, only these two people have gone with this rubric. So are you convinced that it is a very important symptom of this case, because it is very unique, peculiar, and mathematically it is dominant as well? Are you all convinced that it was an important symptom? So although many people may have reached at the same remedy, but still, sometimes it doesn't matter, because if other quality symptoms you are taking into consideration, you will still end up reaching at the same remedy. But these kind of important symptoms you should not miss out. That is very important. And in each and every case, there will be a group of 4 or 5 such quality symptoms, which if you are able to grab it, of course, and there will be some other symptoms as well, which may lead to the same remedy. But those symptoms, which are very peculiar, unique, mathematically dominant, and if it is a general symptom, definitely it will have high value. So as we have seen in the theory classes that while giving value to an observed symptom, which are the parameters that has to be considered while giving value to an observed symptom? Well, for giving value to an observed symptoms, which are those 4 parameters, friends, which has to be considered? We'll come to tormenting thoughts, ma'am. We'll come to that. Anybody want to just quickly list all those four parameters? Yes, one is PQRS. See, I have scheduled today's session in Zoom Meet because I want an interactive session, right? It will be more interesting. Don't just type, you can speak, right? PQRS is one. What are the other 3 parameters? This is how where we have to apply theory clinically, friends. It's all not bookish knowledge. What are the other 3 parameters? Classification of symptom, miasmatic dominance, then how PQRS it is, and what was the 4th one?
Intensity of symptoms.
Intensity of
symptoms.
intensity. So if you consider these 4 parameters, and if you want to give value to this symptom, mental exhaustion aggravation, it is a general symptom. It is a mental general. It is a mental general at emotional level. So very important. Second, those who are not speaking, please keep on mute, friends. Okay, so this is when we consider the classification, it is any mental general, emotional level, and hence it becomes very important. Secondly, if you look at how peculiar it is, how strange it is, how unique it is, you can definitely give high grade value to it, because it seems to be pretty strange, uncommon, strange, peculiar symptom. Mathematically, it is dominant, because at present stage, when we are taking up the case of this patient, this symptom is dominantly present in her. Right. So if this symptom has friends, I am muting everyone. You are unmuting yourself, and then backend noise is coming. Please don't do that. Aradhja sir, please. Arnav Jha, okay, fine. It seems to be a pretty new name. I'm not aware of it anyhow. Hello. So this is one of the important symptom of this case. Now, as far as her mental background is concerned, or the thoughts, or the kind of dominance as far as her mindset is concerned, there are a lot of symptoms which many people have considered. Some people have gone for. Now, see, ailments factor is yet another important thing. If you can, consider a rubric for that. So there are a couple of options for us. What are those options if you want to consider the ailments factor thing? Then what are the options of rubrics which are available to us in this case? If you have taken any
Grief.
ailments, grief, ailments from, yes, that is one. Second, any other possibility? Any other possibility?
Death of loved one.
Death of loved one, the death of her mother, that is quite an important aspect as well in her life. Not only that, because just after a few months after the death of her mother, his father got married again. So that again was a big setback for her. So death of loved one, that is again that again, see what it leads to. Death of a loved one, is it leading to grief? Is it leading to
Disappointed in love.
disappointed love?
Disappointed in love.
Disappointed love can be considered here because she did not get that attention. She did not get that care, attention, and love from her father. So, which see, disappointed love is not a rubric which you always which you can take only when there is a what do you call it lack of what do you call it judgment between the life partners, wife or husband, or boyfriend or girlfriend. It's not that. If a mother, if a son is not, if a child is not getting love from their parents, which is quite expected, that also comes under this disappointed love. So, in this case, it is clearly this lady is saying that मेरे पापा के साथ नहीं पढ़ती है, और probably you can judge that to school नहीं जम दिया. He did not allow her to go to complete her higher studies. She wanted to become a doctor, and the care and attention that she would have expected from her father, especially after she lost her mother, probably she may not have got it. So disappointed love is quite seems to be a possibility here. Again, what else? What else?
Sir,
See,
grief,
sorry, ma'am.
grief और एक
Yes,
sir ambition loss.
grief we have already discussed. That is a strong possibility. So we have to judge the intensity. Now see,
So
when the
forsaken feeling.
forsaken feeling can also be considered here, because stepmother, obviously, we can expect that after that second marriage of her father, her all entire ambition got destroyed, and her father was not even willing to send her for higher studies. Um, Forsaken feeling, there is and if you're talking about forsaken feeling, friends, do you remember when I now there is not so much coordination between even the siblings as well. She has three sisters and few brothers as well. I am not exactly remembering the numbers. But when I asked her, how is your relation with those your siblings, your brothers and sisters, what she told, what was her reply? Anybody remember?
सर शी टोल्ड वंस दैट कि अगर मैं 1 महीना खाना भी नहीं खाऊं तो कोई मुझे पूछने वाला नहीं है.
Bilkul. That definitely, points towards a neglected kind of a feeling, which is definitely forsaken. But again, when I asked her that, how is your relation with your brothers and sisters, she told that, बात हो जाती है.
भैया
उसने
से
बताया था कि
बातें
सिर्फ
बस
बात हो
बोल
जाती है,
देते
ऐसा
हैं.
बताया
हाँ,
था।
बात हो जाती है, बात हो जाती है, मतलब बात हो जाती है, मतलब देर इज नो बॉन्डिंग. बात हो जाती है, देर इज नो बॉन्डिंग. So again, which means that she has gone to a kind of a state of mindset where she feels that nobody cares for me, nobody has any concern for me, nobody pays attention to me. So forsaken feeling, it seems to be a strong symptom in this case. Now, grief. Coming back to the grief factor thing. See, when this incident happened with her when she was in 9th standard. So probably we can assume that she may have been around 12 or 13 years of age. 13 years maybe. So 13 years of age and now she is 29. So a gap of how many years? 16 years. So in these 16 years, if you still look at her present mindset, she is continuously digging on what negative things has happened to her, isn't it? And because of that, she has a kind of low spirited voice, and she seems to be very dull, disappointed from her voice itself. Because each and every time and she also confirmed that every time this past thing, what has happened to her in the past, always keeps her haunting. So what can be the interpretation for that?
Brooding.
Brooding is a strong possibility. What are the other options?
Thought tormenting.
Thoughts tormenting can be considered. What are the other options?
Discontented, displeased.
Discontented, displeased will be a very quite light word for her emotions. It's much higher than that, isn't it? It's not just being discontented.
Dwells on past.
Dwells
Dwells on
on
past.
dwells on past disagreeable occurrences. जो मेरे साथ खराब चीजें हुई हैं, उसी के ऊपर सोचना, उसी के ऊपर हमेशा सोचना. The perfect, which one seems to be perfect here then?
Sir, silent grief can be considered.
Definitely silent grief can be considered because she could not find anyone to express her feeling. She has always kept those feelings with herself. So if you consider brooding on one end, thoughts tormenting, or dwelling on past disagreeable occurrences, you don't need to take all these three. Although all these three seems to be fitting in here, but it's not repertorization when you take all these three, because all these three are basically pointing towards the same feeling that we are trying to cover. So only one out of these can be taken. So if only one has to be taken out of these three, which one you would like to go with? You would like to go with brooding, you would like to go with dwelling on past disagreeable occurrences, or you would like to go with, there is one more rubric, friends, as far as thoughts are concerned. Did anyone consider that? I don't know, but it is there in the repertory. When negative thoughts continuously haunts a person. I'll just tell you that rubric. One second. I think I have made a list of that here. Anybody remember which rubric was that? I need to just open the repertory. Any idea, anyone? One second, friends. I'll just share that rubric. So these are all the possible rubrics for this condition that we are seeing in this patient. We are just discussing on this possible rubric.
Sir, thoughts unpleasant, subjects haunted by.
Correct. Thought unpleasant subjects haunted by. So that is again a strong rubric which can be thought of. And the best part, see, I always say that, friends, if your approach is correct, even if there is a slight difference in the totality that you consider, you end up selecting the same remedy. And if you consider all these rubrics which we have taken into consideration, almost most of those rubrics are being covered by letter more, and that too in first grade. So that is the beauty of working out a case in a proper way. So there are four options as of such with us. One is we can go with brooding. Second is dwelling on past disagreeable occurrences, thoughts tormenting, or this thought haunted by what ma'am has told. So we don't need to randomly take all these four. That is not an ideal way to repertoire. We have to take only one. So according to your interpretation, which one out of these four seems to be perfectly fitting in with this case, you can go with that. Correct? So what do you think? Majority what say? What is the feeling of majority? Which rubric you think is perfectly fitting with this particular condition of this patient?
Sir,
So
it dwells
because she is thinking about past circumstances, so I think dwells on past disagreeable occurrences is more suitable.
I have gone with
Yes,
the
sir.
same. I have gone with the same rubric, friends, that dwells on past disagreeable occurrences. But it doesn't mean that those people who have taken thought tormenting, or those people who have taken brooding, or those people who have taken that thought haunted by, they are wrong. No, it's not that. That also is correct. So it is your individual interpretation, what you feel, which rubric has to be ideally taken. It is your own feeling. And as I said, as I always say, friends, even if your approach is correct, even if there is a slight difference or a major difference in the totality, you will end up reaching the same remedy. So I have gone with this rubric, dwells on past disagreeable occurrences, because I have always, not today also I told her that मैम क्या फायदा होने वाला है आपका पुरानी चीजें के बारे में सोच के अपना दिमाग खराब करते हो आप, जो हो गया है, but she is unable to come out of it. So that is continuously dwelling, मेरा ये होता तो वो होता, ये ऐसा हो गया मेरे साथ, वैसा हो गया, ये किया वो किया, पढ़ने नहीं दिया, ये डॉक्टर, ये सारी चीजें अभी भी उसके दिमाग में है. And her present condition is not that great as well, friends, because one reason for that is this kind of mentality that is dominant in her, where the past is not allowing her to proceed with the future. Correct? So this becomes one, two rubrics. I'm just trying to justify the totality that I have considered. One is mental exhaustion aggravation. I'll come to elements factor. One is mental exhaustion aggravation, and second is this dwells on past disagreeable occurrences. Now, elements factor, brief elements from, definitely you can think of. You can consider that as well. But look at the period of suffering. Look at the period of suffering. This incident happened at the time when the patient was 13 years of age, and now she's 29. So 16 years have passed by, and still that it is dominant in her. So in all these 16 years, the grief, weightage of grief is definitely there. But do we have a rubric which has more weightage than grief? Prolonged grief along with loss of self-esteem, that is also lost in her, right? She wanted to become a doctor, she wanted to study, she wanted to do something for herself, so her self-esteem was also compromised, isn't it? Humiliation, loss of pride, loss of self-esteem along with grief, what it leads to?
Long
Mortification.
concentrated grief.
Mortification. You have a rubric, mortification ailments from. Do you think that will fit here?
Anguish.
Anguish is not also wrong, is also not wrong, but all these rubrics are revolving around the same feeling, that is extreme suffering. Extreme suffering, mental and physical. Physical suffering is not that much as of now, but extreme mental suffering is there. So anguish is also not wrong. Anguish, grief elements from, silent grief. And silent grief is also one important symptom here, friends, because if you look at if you look at her history, she could not find anyone to whom she can share all these feelings. All these feelings has always remained within herself. So silent grief is also a very important symptom which has to be considered in the case, along with mortification elements from, if you go with. And that in itself, four mental symptoms of strongest degree, four mental symptoms of utmost strongest degree. If you repeat as you find that nitrate mood is covering everything in first grade. But that in itself doesn't decide that you have to go with nitrate mode. You have to basically judge the entire totality. So what are the other quality symptoms what we have in this case, which has not been discussed till now so far? Vary of life, loathing of life. Both seems to be a very strong possibility. There seems to be no interest in her as far as her life is concerned. थक जाना, जनरल वेरीनेस और वेरी ऑफ लाइफ, मतलब लाइफ में क्या रखा है, 2000 की नौकरी है और क्या है, जो डॉक्टर बनना था वो नहीं बन पाए, शादी नहीं हुआ है अभी भी है, मतलब, और ये लोथिंग ऑफ लाइफ और वेरी ऑफ लाइफ आल्सो सीम्स टू बी a strong possibility here. Again, remorse is also a symptom that has this strong inclination towards this mental suffering and this the same emotion that we are trying to cover. So n number of options when you have for a same feeling, you have to judge. There is no parameter, friends. There is no parameter. As I always compare it with cricket, friends, I always say that the coach can teach you all the shots in the book. Square cut, cover drive, straight drive, pull shot, hook shot, everything he can teach you. But when you are playing a match and when you are facing a bowler, you have to decide which will be the perfect shot that I have to play according to the merit of the ball. So similarly, according to the merit of the given symptom or given statement made by the patient, you have to judge which rubric ideally seems to fit in. It may differ from person to a slightest degree, but it doesn't matter as long as your interpretation is not totally wrong. Now,
Sir,
some
can I
people
ask one question?
yes, ma'am, no need to take permission to ask question in this platform.
हाँ सर, आपने वेरी ऑफ लाइफ या लोदिंग लाइफ बताया, वो मुझे कुछ ज्यादा लग रहा है क्योंकि पेशेंट कभी कभी गा लेती है, वो मूवीज देखती है और इतना बात करते हुए इतना भी दुखी नहीं लग रही, बीच बीच में थोड़ी सी हंस हंस भी रही थी ना,
तो मैंने नहीं
तो
लिया
ये
मैम
कुछ
वो
ज्यादा हो
सिम्टम,
जाएगा ना सर?
मैंने नहीं लिया है वो सिम्टम। मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि उसकी पॉसिबिलिटी को हम लोग रूल आउट नहीं कर सकते हैं,
जी सर, जी सर।
है ना। तो वो आपको डिसाइड करना है। जैसे आपने कहा कि
हाँ हाँ।
अकॉर्डिंग टू योर इंटरप्रिटेशन यू डोंट फील दैट इट, डोंट टेक इट। आई हैव नॉट टेकन इट, but
Yes, sir.
what I'm trying to convey is that, see friends, if you are taking a rubric which doesn't fit with the patient at all, then you will totally go wrong. Like say for example, some people have considered reserved in this case, reserved rubric. Do you think that this patient is really that reserved type of a lady? Probably, maybe you may have considered it because she is keeping all the emotion within herself. She's not mingling with others, and but at the same time, she, as far as her workplace is concerned, she's talking with others. She is having a friend circle over there. So, what do you think? Is reserved a rubric which can be considered in this case? Do you think that she is reserved?
No, sir. No.
No, sir.
Going into a shell, going into a shell, or because of the negative ups and downs that she had faced in their life, doesn't make one reserved. Being reserved is in nature. It can be considered when somebody is reserved by nature, when they decide whom they want to be. They have the priority to take the decisions or choose the friend circle or whatever it may be. So being reserved is, you can in one word you can say that not open for all. It is reserved. So I don't think so. In this case, reserved is a rubric that you can think of. So if you go into the, it is according to again my interpretation, friends. So there may be people
Sir,
who may not. Yes, ma'am.
रिजर्व पर्सन सर हाँ या ना में जवाब देगा, वो एक दो सेंटेंस तो बोल रही थी, कुछ अपने बारे में बता रही थी ज्यादा जब आप पूछ
ये
रहे थे।
हमारे ये इसके ऊपर रिजर्व के ऊपर हमारे इससे भी पहले डिस्कशन हुआ है फ्रेंड्स। डज एनीवन रिमेंबर व्हिच एग्जांपल आई हैड कोटेड व्हेन आई वाज एक्सप्लेनिंग दिस रूब्रिक रिजर्व? ओल्ड मेंबर्स, किसी को याद है कौन सा एग्जांपल मैंने दिया था जब हम लोग ये रूब्रिक रिजर्व को एक्सप्लेनेशन?
सर आपने आपका खुद का एग्जांपल दिया था रिजर्व को समझाने के लिए।
बिल्कुल, कौन सा एग्जांपल था सर वो, याद है आपको?
आपका खुद सर, आप जो कम्युनिकेटिव, हमारी कम्युनिटी में अच्छा टॉकेटिव है, सबसे बात कर लेते हैं, लेकिन आप आपकी रिलेशन में इतना अच्छा नहीं बात करते हैं, तो आपने ऐसा बताया था कि वो दूसरों लोगों को ऐसा लगता है कि आप रिजर्व्ड हो ऐसे।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
सब
See,
लोगों
if in this group, if somebody says that Dr. Praveen Karthikeyan is a reserved person, I don't think so anybody would agree with that. Nobody will agree with that if somebody says that I am a reserved person. But if you go and ask my relatives, they will say that अरे वो तो बहुत रिजर्व बंदा है, वो किसी से बात ही नहीं करता है, अपने में ही रहता है, मतलब वो उनका खुद का अलग है वो वर्ल्ड। And similarly, when I was teaching in college, I was basically teaching repertory. So I was very close with the third year students and final year students. And if somebody asks an opinion to the first year or second year students कि how is Dr. Praveen sir, then वो कहते हैं अरे वो तो उससे किसी से बात करते हुए दिखते ही नहीं, लगता है कि काफी reserved type है. So reserved doesn't mean that in my company, yes, I have my reservations. I have priority where I can be communicative, I can talk to others. So being reserved doesn't mean that you are not talkative. A reserved person can also be talkative, but within his own reservations or within his own company where he prefers to stay. So I am reserved only for doctors. So with others, I will not talk. If I say that, so it doesn't mean that if you are not speaking a lot, or if you are speaking a lot, you belong to this category. Reserved person doesn't mean that they need not speak too much. They can be talkative as well, but within their own company. So that is the difference that you have to understand. What this point? Understood, please? So this is basically the totality that I have gone with to give Natter more, and I think by day after tomorrow, the patient should get the medicine. So today also I have assured her that within 3.5 to 4 months, we will ensure that everything is getting cleared. So, the assurance was given based on the confidence that I have when we use LM potencies brains from the past experience. So let's see. Our task is now to ensure that in this next 3.5 to 4 months time, we have to clear up this case. Any doubts related to the totality? Those people, see,
Sir,
just 1 second, Nikhil sir, 1 second. Those people who have not reached that nitro more, they need not get discouraged. Even if they have second or third choice as nitro more, still you have done a good job. But I have always said that friends, when you're repertorization is an art. So you have to go think twice when you consider a rubric whether that really fits in or not. Now, n number of times I have told you that don't go for rubrics which are very general and very vague. Some people have gone for sadness. Some people have gone for you know I'm not exactly remembering very vague rubrics without any proper what do you call it analysis being done. They have randomly taken very vague rubrics. So these kind of vague rubrics, which have more than 200, 250 rubrics listed, medicines listed against it, doesn't make sound. And see, this activity that you are submitting, this is exactly how you have to submit in our website also when you are working out a case. So you have to be very specific that whatever totality you are considering, that rubric should be there in the repertory. Some people have taken some rubric, some people have mentioned some rubric or totality where such rubric is not there in the repertory. So don't do this kind of things, friends. It will be strictly analyzed because see, if tomorrow, if you are working out a case and you need help of some other doctor, if you are not selecting proper rubrics or rubrics in proper way, others will not be able to help you out. Yes, Nikhil sir, you can ask your doubt now.
सर ये ओवर सेंसिटिव आ सकता है क्या इसके अंदर?
ओवर सेंसिटिव भी आ सकता है सर, वो ओवर सेंसिटिव है ऑलरेडी।
हेलो,
ओवर सेंसिटिव आ सकता है सर, ओवर सेंसिटिव है ऑलरेडी, काफी ओवर सेंसिटिव है।
अच्छा सर, वो कंसीडर मैंने मेरी टोटालिटी में किया था।
जी बिल्कुल कर सकते। कौन सी मेडिसिन आई है आपको?
नेट्राम्यूरी आया था सर।
हाँ, फिर कोई टेंशन ही नहीं है ना।
सर
ठीक है
एक्सक्यूज मी सर।
हाँ संजय सर।
सर मेरी जो मेडिसिन आई थी फर्स्ट वो पल्सेटिला आई थी, लेकिन माइंड एक्सर्शन
कट गया है सर।
मैंने उसको कंसीडर नहीं किया था, माइंड एग्रेवेशन। सर माइंड एक्सर्शन एग्रेवेशन रूब्रिक मैंने कंसीडर नहीं किया था। और मेरी फर्स्ट रेमेडी पल्सेटिला आई थी, जबकि माइंड एक्सर्शन एग्रेवेशन में सेकंड ग्रेड में पल्सेटिला दी हुई है।
तो क्या सवाल क्या है आपका?
सर
मिल जाएगा।
जी सर,
सवाल क्या है सर आपका?
सवाल यह है कि सर मेरा नेट्राम्यूर नहीं आया, लेकिन वो जो इम्पोर्टेंट सिम्टम है ऑटोमेटिकली माइंड एक्सर्शन एग्रेवेट कवर ना करने के बाद भी सेकंड ग्रेड में कवर कर।
तो आपको नाइट्रामोर फर्स्ट 3 चॉइसेस में भी नहीं आया है या कि फर्स्ट में नहीं आया कह रहे हो आप?
नहीं तो फर्स्ट में नहीं आया।
अच्छा, तो टॉप 3 चॉइसेस में तो है ना नाइट्रामोर?
नहीं सर, नहीं है।
नहीं है
सर
तो
कलकेरिया कह रहा हूँ मैं, तो पल्सेटिला थी।
तो मुझे देखना पड़ेगा सर कि आपने कौन सी टोटलिटी, कौन से सिम्टम्स कंसीडर किए। अगर 1 मिनट देंगे तो मैं देखता हूँ, 1 सेकंड रुकिए।
हाँ, पानी हुआ तो मच्छर परेशान करेगा।
किसको मच्छर परेशान
सईदा
कर रहा है?
मैडम आपका माइक ऑफ कीजिए मैडम, दूसरे लोग प्लीज माइक ऑफ कीजिए।
अच्छा सर, ये संजय सर ने जो रूब्रिक्स कंसीडर किए हैं वो है डेस्पेयर। डेस्पेयर मतलब होपलेस हो जाना है। तो ये सर आप थोड़ा सा एक्सप्लेन कर पाएंगे? अभी 6-5 मिनट बचा है हमारे पास, तो आप थोड़ा सा एक्सप्लेन कर पाएंगे कि आपने ये डेस्पेयर क्यों लिया है? क्या कहाँ आपको ऐसा स्टेटमेंट है जहाँ आपको लग रहा है कि पेशेंट ने पूरी होप छोड़ दी है? लेकिन पेशेंट तो बहुत ही क्यूरियस और एंग्जाइटी है उसको अपनी कंप्लेंट ठीक कराने के लिए, क्योंकि वो कंप्लेंट ऐसा है जो उसके डेली और फ्यूचर लाइफ में अफेक्ट कर सकता है। तो वो काफी एंशियस है उसको लेके। तो आपका क्या कहाँ ऐसा लगा कि वो डेस्पेयर है?
सर डिस्पेयर एक
सर
तो
एक
कि
बात
उसने।
पूछनी थी।
हेलो
एक्सक्यूज मी सर, से ये पूछना था सर, एंजाइटी उसको एंजाइटी अबाउट हेल्थ लेंगे या एंजाइटी जैसे उसको फ्यूचर को लेके भी थी, या एंजाइटी विद फियर लेंगे? इस केस में कौन सी एंजाइटी लेनी चाहिए अगर एंजाइटी लेते हैं तो?
एंग्जाइटी इतना डोमिनेंट था क्या मैम कि हम लोग उस एंग्जाइटी को कंसिडर करें as such? ठीक है, डेफिनेटली थोड़ी बहुत एंग्जाइटी है पेशेंट में दिख रही है अपने कंप्लेंट्स को लेके या चीजों को लेके, बट क्या
लेकिन
वो
सर उसने एक स्टेटमेंट दिया था जब आपने कहा था मैं ठीक कर दूंगा 6 महीने में, उसने कहा सर मैं आपका तो आपकी बहुत आभारी रहूंगी, बहुत शुक्रगुजार रहूंगी। इसका
जी
मतलब कि उसको एंजाइटी सर
नहीं
डोमिनेंट
तो
थी उसको
नहीं
अपनी
तो
बीमारी
देखिए,
ठीक करने के लिए।
नहीं नहीं तो देखिए ना, अगर वो कह रही है कि सर मैं तो वो आपकी बहुत आभारी रहूंगी, मतलब वो डेस्परेटली चाह रही है कि अपना कंप्लेंट ठीक हो। वो होपलेस कहाँ हुई है वहां पे? अगर वो
सर
कहती
होपलेस डिस्पेयर इसलिए लिए
अगर अगर सुनिए ना सर, अगर अगर
सर
अगर मैं अगर मैंने पेशेंट को बोला कि मैं आपको 3 महीने में ठीक कर दूंगा, पेशेंट अगर जवाब देता है 3 महीने में, सर मुझे तो नहीं लगता होगा, मुझे तो अभी उम्मीद ही नहीं है कि हो पाएगा ये ठीक, तो आप डिस्पेयर ले सकते हो, कंसिडर भी कर सकते हो। लेकिन वहां पे पेशेंट ने बहुत ही ग्रेसफुली उसको एक्सेप्ट कर लिया कि अरे वाह 4 महीने में हो जाएगा, चलो बहुत बढ़िया सर, आभारी रहूंगा, मतलब डेस्परेटली शी वांट टू गेट हरसेल्फ क्योर्ड, तो वहां पे डेस्पेयर तो नहीं आएगा ना।
सर डिस्पेयर रिकवरी इसीलिए मैंने नहीं लिया सर, एज ए होल लिया क्योंकि
अच्छा,
अदर पार्ट
डेस्पेयर
ऑफ लाइफ में उसको थोड़ा
अगर
निराश थी सर।
जी जी बिल्कुल सर, अगर डेस्पेयर आप इन जनरल कंसिडर कर रहे हो लाइफ को लेके, तो वो ठीक है, थोड़ी बहुत निराश है, लेकिन अगर आप उसकी शादी के बारे में जो उसकी सोच है उसके उसको समझोगे, व्हाट शी थिंक्स अबाउट हर मैरिज, शी वांट्स। अच्छा एक चीज बताइए फ्रेंड्स, इन दिस केस अभी 29 ईयर्स की लेडी है, शी इज नॉट गॉट मैरिड येट, बट क्या वो ऐसे ही मूड माइंडसेट में आ गए कि नहीं अब तो मेरी शादी इतनी देर हो गई, अभी शादी भी नहीं होगी, शादी करनी भी नहीं है, या उसको करनी है?
करनी है
ना
शादी।
करनी है,
उसको
करनी है।
करनी है, उसको करनी है शादी, है ना? तो वहां पे वो अब शादी करेगा, आगे की प्लानिंग भी तो करेगी ना शादी की। अगर वो सोचते कि अभी क्या शादी करना, 29 साल तो हो गए हैं, अब कौन सा लड़का मिलेगा, अब वो हो सकता है कि डिस्पेयर में चले जाए, लेकिन वो ही शी इज होपफुल, उसको शादी करनी है।
सर
दूसरा
इसमें
एक
4 सेकंड, सर
मिनट
इसमें
मैम,
4 सेकंड। हाँ जी।
4 सेकंड फीलिंग आप कंसिडर कर सकते हो, मैंने कहा है ना मैम, 4 सेकंड फीलिंग आप कंसिडर कर सकते हो। और ये
ओके सर।
संजय सर ने दूसरा देखिए, मैं अभी यही बता रहा था कि सैडनेस इन जनरल लिया है, सैडनेस इन जनरल के अगेंस्ट कितनी मेडिसिन है? आई थिंक मोर देन 300 मेडिसिन है। तो ये रूब्रिक आपको हेल्प नहीं करेगा जो सिम्टम को इंडिविजुअलाइज करने के लिए या मेडिसिन को जो शॉर्टलिस्ट करने के लिए, ऐसे रूब्रिक्स आपको काम नहीं आएंगे, है ना? संजय सर सुन रहे हो आप?
ओके सर, सर सुन रहा हूँ
जी जी, तो ऐसे रैंडम रूब्रिक्स जो सैडनेस है उसमें तो मेरे ख्याल से 350 400 के ऊपर मेडिसिन है, तो ऐसे रूब्रिक्स आपको हेल्प नहीं करेंगे। 1.5 मिनट बचा है फ्रेंड, कोई
ओके
और डाउट है? कोई और डाउट है? दोस्त पीपल हैव गो
Sir,
यस,
fourth second is
इसमें
better or neglected feeling? Which one
नेग्लेक्टेड
is more
फीलिंग,
suited?
neglected feeling, there is no rubric as such neglected feeling ना मैम, अगर आप neglected feeling you want to consider, then you will have to go with 4 second only ना।
तो 4 सेकंड एट्रीब्यूट कवर नहीं करता
Feeling
है।
has been neglected.
4 सेकंड नेट्रमोर कवर नहीं करता है मैम, बट मेरी टोटलिटी में वो है भी नहीं, मेरी टोटलिटी में वो इसलिए
या
नहीं है, मेरी टोटलिटी में इसलिए वो नहीं है क्योंकि दिस 4 सेकंड फीलिंग, इफ वी आर टेकन दिस केस व्हेन शी वाज 14 और 15 इयर्स ऑफ एज, जब हम नई नई स्टेप मदर आई है और फादर ने पढ़ाई रोक दी, ये रोक दी, वो रोक दी, कोई पूछ नहीं रहा है, probably at that moment of time 4 second feeling would have been more dominant, but इतने सालों के बाद वो सिम्टम तो है, फीलिंग तो है उसके अंदर, बट इट इज नॉट दैट मैथमेटिकली डोमिनेंट टू कम इनटू द टोटलिटी। गॉट दिस?
सर
यस
उसको
मुझे
अभी
तो
तक
लगा
फील
ही नहीं
होता
कि
है
4 सेकंड
कि
में
8
हमारे
दिन नहीं खाया खाया कोई पूछता भी नहीं है, 8 दिन
हाँ
तक हमने नहीं खाया
हाँ
खाया तो
हाँ,
किसी को कोई
तो
फर्क क्यों नहीं पड़ता है?
वो सिम्टम है मैम, डेफिनेटली 4 सेकंड फीलिंग इज देयर, बट व्हाट आई एम सेइंग इज दैट मैथमेटिकली द डोमिनेंस इज नॉट देयर व्हेन यू कंपेयर इट विद द अदर डोमिनेंट सिम्टम व्हिच आर एग्जिस्टिंग राइट नाउ।
अच्छा, माइजमेटिक नहीं, पर उसको लगता है कि उसी की वजह से तब से उसकी बीमारी खाना नहीं खाया तभी से हो गई है, तो वो उसके रिलेटेड है ना, अभी जो उसका डिजीज